This news update is brought to you by
It's Thursday, October 2nd, 2014, and this is the Noon Barbados Today update. I'm Dawn Paris. Good afternoon. The Barbados Association of Retired Persons is pleading with utility companies to give pensioners a break if they can't pay their bills on time in the coming weeks. President Ed Bushell says with pension checks expected late, some seniors may not have enough money to cover their expenses. The National Insurance Scheme said at the beginning of this week that a hardware malfunction had left it unable to pay checks, and that situation would obtain for about 3 weeks. Yesterday, however, NIS Director Ian Carrington said the part to fix the problem would be in the island by this weekend, and he's hopeful checks would be in the post by next Friday. Bushell says he hopes service providers such as the Barbados Water Authority and the Barbados Light and Power Company would take that into consideration if pensioners have to delay payments. Meantime, some people have been telling Barbados Today that the NIS should have had a better backup system in place.
The custom, you do everything with your hand, go back, from the time the phone, the computer is not working, do that. Went back with that card. People still there is to be fed. You understand? People got the grandchildren going to school, they have to provide for them. I am a lonely bird.
The government can do better. They should always have a backup plan that anytime anything occurs, you could rely on the backup plan.
More frustration from the Barbados Investors and Policyholders Alliance about delays in settling the CLICO matter. 5 years after the collapse of the Trinidad-based insurance company, BIPA chairperson June Fowler says there have been several missed deadlines, and that has hindered the process. Fowler tells Barbados Today their immediate focus right now is on recouping the funds invested in CLICO. In the meantime, she says she's encouraged following a meeting last week with the judicial manager Deloitte Consulting Limited.
There was a time when you really thought that things were speeding ahead and moving ahead, and then there was a lull. And then again, things seem to be happening again. I mean, behind the scenes, there's work that is happening. I can't really discuss what we've been shared with us as yet, but suffice it to say that we are aware as to what has been happening and really processing. We've been having meetings with the judicial manager, not only for CLICO but for British Americans. Up to last week Thursday, we had a meeting with the CLICO judicial manager, but I'm not at liberty to share what we had discussed at that meeting.
The police force is mourning the sudden loss of one of its own. 29-year veteran Sergeant David Leacock died suddenly at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital last night while dealing with a family matter. Police Public Relations Officer Inspector David Welch said Leacock, who was in his mid-50s, was a very forthright but friendly individual and very knowledgeable in his police duties. He says his death will leave a void in the force.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Hi, I'm Red Plastic Bag. Anyone who knows me knows I don't like cold. Sunshine reigns in my country. I love it.
On the regional front, health authorities in some Caribbean countries ramp up national plans to respond to the Ebola virus as the United States confirms its first case. In Jamaica, doctors warn they do not have the safety gear needed to treat affected persons, and some insist they will not expose themselves or their charges by treating Ebola patients. The doctors warn that the possibility of an outbreak is not far-fetched since students from countries affected by the virus attend the Mona campus of the University of the West Indies, and they're urging the government to boost its preparedness plans to tackle the disease. Over in St. Lucia, national epidemiologist Nahum Jean-Baptiste says they won't be taking any chances, but he made it clear the island won't be imposing any travel restrictions.
Although the WHO has given you flexibility in terms of responding, and St. Vincent have a right to respond as they're responding, just like any other country has a right to respond to how they're responding. But they also warned that we should use scientific evidence. For us, the scientific evidence is the travel history and the evidence of starting the signs and symptoms upon onset, the fever, the headache. So if someone presents with fever, headache, abdominal pain, muscle pain, and the travel history, that person is under investigation.
Meantime, as many as 100 people in the U.S. state of Texas are being checked for potential exposure to Ebola. Only 12 to 18 people, including 5 children, are known to have had direct contact with Ebola patient Thomas Eric Duncan, who contracted the virus in Liberia. 4 of his relatives have been ordered to stay home while they're watched for signs of the disease. Duncan was diagnosed on Tuesday and is in serious condition in hospital. He's the first case diagnosed outside of Africa where more than 3,300 people have died in the Ebola outbreak. And on that note, we end our noon Barbados Today update. We'll be back again with you at 6 this evening. Until then, you can log on to www.barbadostoday.bb, subscribe to our e-paper and our email updates, and like us on Facebook. And you can also catch us on Izumi Media, in bus terminals, or on Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you for the latest news and sports. I'm Dawn Paris. Have a wonderful day and join us again at 6 this evening.
This news update is brought to you by